Good morning, everybody. It's great to be back with all of you. We had a great time away. Got some rest, some relaxation, time spent with friends. I was a little disappointed, though, and maybe you've had getaways like this where things don't work out the way that you want them to.
Yeah, I think no matter what happens in life, there's always like an element of that's not exactly how I wanted it to go.
Things always work out the way I want them to, unless we're talking about ordering food or things being quiet when I want them quiet or everything in life. So wanted plenty of sunshine. We got an Airbnb with the pool and we're right near the beach, and there was literally no sunshine until the day we left.
Yep.
So,
none, which is, we live in the sunshine state.
Yeah. There was this huge cloud of Sahara dust that came in from all the way across the ocean, and it was just cloudy the whole entire time.
It covered the sky. Covered it.
So, but it was nice to get away, rest, not really do much.
We made the best of it. We still had a great time. Because when we're together, we have a great time.
We did, and just spent time resting, being encouraged. It was just great. Every once in a while you need that, just to pause. Weren't really on social media much. We weren't really working. I had a few things I did on the computer every morning, but basically just time away and resting. And sometimes you just need that.
We were both exhausted leading up to it.
But kind of wondering what's your favorite way just to unwind and rest? What do you like to do? Maybe for you it's hitting up a movie, or it's curling up on the couch with a good book. Maybe you like the rainy, foggy, cloudy days. Not me. I'm a sunshine on the beach type of person.
I'm a sunshine girl.
Yeah. Which we have plenty of sunshine today. We got a paint job we got to go finish up after this. And then hopefully spend a little bit of time on the beach. We got lead team meeting tonight, so.
Oh, we do?
Yeah.
Oh, then we got to.
So we got a lot going on.
Yeah.
But ready to roll. Today we're going to, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about body language.
Body language. Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds good. Anytime we can talk about your body, I like that language. So, but yeah, it'll be an interesting episode. Whatever it's about, it's going to be fun. Don't you think?
Yes.
Okay. Are you ready to go?
I am ready.
Gather round, everybody. It's time for a family meeting. The family meeting is a show that's all about family relationships.
What? What?
I'm ready to go. Sorry, I was thinking about your body language.
Oh, stop it. Try again.
We're the Osterkamps. I'm Thomas, and this is my wife, Beautiful Body.
Oh, Thomas, stop.
Language.
Beautiful body language. Well, thank you. Hello and
Lysandra.
Hello and welcome to our family. Welcome to episode 246 of the Family Meeting Podcast. On today's episode, we're going to discuss body language.
All right.
Now, we have had an episode on this years ago on body language because we did talk about this. It is an important topic to talk about, especially in a marriage relationship. Because we do want to talk about the one angle, like what message are you sending your spouse? But we also want to flip that and look at the other side of it and think about what messages are you incorrectly picking up from your spouse? How much are you reading too much into their body language or facial expressions? Sometimes we assign emotions and thoughts to our spouses that are not there at all based on their body language. So we're going to kind of talk about that side of it as well.
Yeah. Before we do, though, last week were talking about family mission statement, and one of the reels we put out, we were talking about it, and just about chores, and we were talking about the dishes, which I'm looking over there this week, and it's like spotless over there.
Yeah.
We actually instituted a new dish schedule rule for the girls,
which we'll share that with you in the future, but we're only on week like two days into the second week,
so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
I was talking about the fact that, if we have our mission statement, That's for our family. And so if you see the dishes need to be done, but you know it's your sister's turn to do it, she's got a lot going on, you have less going on, just do the dishes.
Yeah.
And so you were talking about weaponizing
Yes,
the mission statement against
like
the
you
kids.
can use it as a weapon and be like, oh, but you're supposed to serve me.
Yeah. So Jess Lemcool, who listens to the podcast all the time, he commented and said, Thomas shut down the weaponization of the family mission statement so fast.
Lame.
And you said, yeah, what's that about?
Yeah.
You just want to weaponize it.
That's right.
So he said, you may be eligible for compensation.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like that.
And then Robert Hull said, my kids do all the chores. I want them to be prepared for life. They may not have a family or people they are close with to share responsibilities, so they both should know how to do everything in order to be self-sufficient. Mm-hmm. But also, I don't want to do chores.
Honesty. True honesty. Hey, both can be true at the same time.
Well, and I like the philosophy of making sure, because he has a son and a daughter, making sure that they both know how to do everything.
Yes, for sure.
Because certain chores are not just for women and certain chores are not just for men.
Yes.
And so I think it's important that people learn how to know how to do everything. Now, you have, certain things where, okay, you more enjoy this, I maybe more enjoy this. And we have certain roles and responsibilities that we basically fall into. And then there's like, hey, you're going to be working here, so I'm going to pick up some slack and do some extra. But knowing how to do everything.
Yeah.
And be self-sufficient. Because like Robert said, you don't know. Like, you may live by yourself. You may not have family close by. You may not get married or whatever else. So I love the fact that he's teaching them how to do everything, and he doesn't have to do chores.
It's very good.
So, and then we...
Actually, can I take a moment here to share with you how our neighbors are like making fun of you?
Our neighbors are making fun of me?
Yeah, behind your back. I heard about it.
No, I didn't know.
But it made me think of this because of what Robert just said.
Yeah.
So Danny, our neighbor Danny, was like asking his wife, man, Thomas really is kind of a girly, isn't he? And she's like, what? She's like, what? And he's like, I've never seen him mow in the yard. I've only seen the little girls out there mowing the yard. And he's like,
that's funny.
He never mows the yard. And I'm like, we are teaching our children that they have to work. If you want to be part of this family, you have chores. You contribute. And so we were laughing so hard about how he was kind of calling you a pansy.
Okay, Danny.
He's calling you pansy. And then she was like, well, he did mow and take care of the yard while you guys were gone in Iowa last year.
Yeah.
So you got that.
Yeah.
And you'll pick it back up when all the girls leave. But it's not just about you not wanting to mow. It's about teaching our children how to take care of a yard, how to have responsibility, how to contribute to our home.
Yeah.
And both can be true at the same time.
Yeah. All right. He's a lot taller than me, but I still think I can take you, Danny. So let's see.
All right.
Let's see who's girly.
Danny's on the warpath. Danny, you got to know, Shelly's going to tell us everything you say.
Yeah.
Everything will be used against you.
Okay. All right.
Now you're mad.
No, I'm ready to go. Come on. Come at me, bro.
Bring it.
So we encourage people to text in or email into the show, info@familymeeting.org, or you can text or send a voice message at 904-257-3062. Just with your thoughts on the episode or other things you might have. And we did a couple episodes, we did sex myths.
Yep.
And got a lot of feedback on that. Still getting some feedback. We had Janelle who sent us a text. And she shared her name here with me, so I'm sharing it with you. This was not a situation where they wanted to remain anonymous.
Okay.
So Janelle says, she talks about sex myths. I was laughing hard and shaking my head. I never had the talk. All my mother said was, you can still get pregnant while you're on your period.
That was the only information she gave her.
Yeah, and which was one of the sex myths, right? That we
Yes,
talked about.
it was.
Some people believe, and that
Yeah.
was like the thing her mom told her is like,
Out of everything, that's hilarious.
hey, don't believe the fact that you can't get pregnant on your period, which I thought was funny. And so she kind of shares a few other things with us. And we did talk about, we touched on this a little bit. Scott believes that masturbation, even within marriage, is wrong. And she says, I don't. So they have a little conversation there about that. And once again, it's about, we mentioned that and talked about, what are you thinking about? What are you looking at? Those sorts of things. Are
you withholding what your spouse needs?
Because you're masturbating. Yeah. So there's a lot to consider. And some of that has to do with the way we were raised and all those sorts of things of what we think and believe or what guardrails and everything. But part of it is in a situation like this where you have a husband and wife who kind of disagree on it. So
which that happens. I mean, my goodness, we don't agree on everything.
No, not at all. But having a conversation and coming to a mutual understanding about that. She said this, I did believe that oral sex didn't count as sex.
Interesting.
So, yeah. So basically, if you're not putting the two parts together, it doesn't count, is the thought follows. She says, I believe it counts as sex now. So that was what she believed. Right. And then she did this. She said, gives us this piece of information, which I didn't know. Nowadays, instead of tying the tubes, they remove the whole fallopian tubes. I had mine done in 2014.
Really? Okay, I didn't know that.
So I guess they've been doing that for a little while now.
Wow. I didn't know that. Thank you for sharing. That's really cool.
But I think once you remove it, there's less of a chance of something,
the surprise.
Something happening. That's that surprise coming along. But appreciate that feedback and input into the conversation. And once again, we'd love to hear from you, whether it's about a past episode or about what we're going to be talking about today with body language. 904-257-3062. We'd love to share your thoughts and experiences on the podcast as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we are going to get into our episode on body language today. And if you have had any amount of time in a relationship with your spouse or with really anybody, you know that body language comes into play in communication. I mean, there are times when we will be standing across a room, a crowded room. We're both engaged in our own conversations, and we can give each other a look or shift our body in a certain way, and we are communicating like, I'm ready to go, or get me out of here, or I'm having a great time, or I miss you, but I'm glad you're having a good time over there. Like, we communicate all the time with our body language. Even the importance of the body language.
Every time you say body language, that is exactly what I think of.
You cannot help but hear Ursula.
Body language. It was like a cross between Ursula and Schmeagol.
You nailed it, though.
Body language. Language body you'd have.
Stop. Oh,
Yoda.
Man.
That's how Yoda would say.
Yeah, no, I got it. I got the Yoda. Okay. So,
I have no idea what you were saying before that. I was looking that up. That's all I could think about.
So our next communication episode is going to be on listening.
Here, I'm going to just watch you, and I'm going to listen to your body language for this whole episode.
That's super weird and makes me very uncomfortable. It also makes me want to do the robot.
I like what you're saying.
Okay, so there are times when our body language is communicating things that we're not trying to communicate, right? So
yeah, because there are times where your body language is like, hey, we need to go upstairs.
Mm-hmm. And my words are like, stay away from me.
Like, no, never that.
Never that. Stop it. Okay, how many times in this episode am I going to tell you to stop?
Well, if it's like our regular life, it's going to be a lot.
Okay, you're throwing me off. I'm trying to remember what I'm trying to say here.
But this is exactly how I feel all the time because your body language is throwing me off.
Okay.
All right, I'm done.
Are you done?
No.
I know. Our body language is communicating things sometimes that we don't intend to say. But not only that, there are times that we are interpreting our spouse's body language in a completely incorrect way. And it's not what they're trying to say at all. They're not angry, but you think that they're angry and you're seeing their facial expressions and you're reading into it more than what's actually happening.
So, for instance, one of the things that body language experts, quote unquote, talk about is like, if you see somebody with their arms folded and crossed, that means they're kind of closed off to you and defenses up. And I'm like, that's not true most of the time for me. Like, this is one of the most comfortable ways for me to stand or to put my arms. But I do think about that, though, like when I'm with other people and they're talking, is how often I cross my arms. So, like, I will sit there and, like, consciously think about, don't cross your arms, because you don't want to tell them that you're closed off. And I'm like, it's just comfortable.
Yeah. I don't interpret it that way at all from you because I know you.
Yeah.
But if people didn't, I could see that. And people often say that you're very intense.
Which I don't get, but
yeah. But we were speaking with a couple and they were talking about the fact that the wife was reading too much into the husband's body language and facial expressions whenever they would have a discussion, like sometimes a heated discussion, sometimes not necessarily as heated.
Yeah.
But it was constantly causing them problems in their communication. And I love the solution that they shared with us. And as soon as they told me, I said, this is going to become a podcast episode. And so here we are today. But here's their solution. I want to share this with you because I think it's really cool. I love that it's outside the box. When they want to have a kind of a serious discussion, they lay in bed and turn off the lights.
I don't like where this is going.
No, it's not going there. It's going to a conversation.
Yeah.
It's going to...
where your body language is speaking.
No! It eliminates body language. All you can hear is the words that they're saying and their tone of voice.
Okay.
So it eliminates body language altogether.
You're literally just focusing on the words
yes,
and how they're being said.
Exactly. So this might be a fun experiment for you and your spouse is to, bring up that kind of hot button issue that you've been dealing with for maybe months, maybe years, and go into your room, lay down, turn off all the lights, and then talk about it.
I feel like for us, there's no way we're going to be able to lay down and do this. I feel like we've got to be sitting on a couch or something.
Okay, so sit on a couch in the dark?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think for us that's going to work.
Okay.
Because you're not going to be able to leave me alone. So 4 kids prove that.
You are quite a specimen.
I guess.
It is hard to leave you alone. That's true.
But I like the thought process of, okay, we're having this problem of reading too much into body language. What can we do to try to solve that problem?
Yeah.
And this is where you need to get at with your marriage as well. Whatever this problem is, whatever the situation, like we're having this roadblock, what can we do to creatively and strategically overcome this obstacle?
Yeah, because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, right? And that doesn't happen. So if the result is always ending up the same because you're doing the same thing, obviously you've got to change something. And so this could be the thing that maybe will work for you.
Yeah. So for them, it was body language. For you, it might be something else, but figuring out how to do that. So
think outside the box.
Having a conversation in the dark, however you do it, it's great for overcoming that issue. Because like you said, a lot of times our body or our face is reacting in such a way, and it's like, no, I don't mean anything by that. Like I just have that resting bee face. Like I'm not mad, I'm not angry, I'm not upset by what you're saying. That's literally just the way I look.
Well, and how many times have I come to you and been like, are you mad at me?
Yeah, and I'm
you're
like,
no, I'm just thinking.
No, like this is what I look like.
I'm like, could you change that for me? Thanks. So keeping that idea in mind of like thinking outside the box and everything, keep that in your mind as we discuss body language in this episode. What we're going to do is we're going to start off by talking about like how intricate body language is in our communication. And then we're going to talk about ways that like you can misunderstand.
What does Webster have to say about body language?
I have no idea. I did not consult Webster.
Oh, okay.
Not this time, because I couldn't handle.
Mark that down, people. One episode where we don't hear what Webster has to say about something.
I couldn't handle the mockery from you, so I had to just close my dictionary.
I was just waiting for it. I'm like, I know I'm going to hear about Webster today.
And you know what? You were wrong.
That'd be a first time.
And Webster's dictionary defines wrong as Thomas Osterkamp.
Yeah.
Bam!
Okay, so we're not hearing from Webster. Who are we hearing from today?
Psychologist Albert Mehrabian.
Mehrabian? Okay.
Sure, Mehrabian.
Mehrabian.
You know, whenever they throw an H in there,
you're not quite sure how to say it.
I don't know what to do with that H, you know, and there's so many names with the like surprise H's, right? Okay, so he has talked about this 7-38-55 rule. Okay.
What's
7-38-55 rule. And so what his research suggests is that in face-to-face communication, it's all about feelings and attitudes. So 7% of the message is conveyed through words.
I can't
7%.
Only that amount. That is so interesting.
That's very low. 38% comes from tone of voice, which I kind of I should say I totally understand why tone of voice would be much higher than words.
Right, because it's like, just listen to the sound of this. Like, you're crazy versus like, you're crazy.
Totally, totally different.
Like, one you're going to be very offended at. One you're like, oh, this is some sort of playful, like, flirty banter or whatever.
Exactly. Okay, so 7% words, 38% tone, 55% is communicated through body language, that includes facial expressions and posture. So what you're doing with your body, but also your eyes and your face itself. So the majority of communication, 55%, is body language, according to this psychologist, right?
Which is so fascinating because, like, we tend to focus most on the words that we say. At least some people do. Some people just spew out words.
Yeah. You mean like when we are trying to talk to someone, we think, how do I want to say this?
Yeah. And so it's like, okay, so we think about the words when that's what he's saying from his research is that's the least important part of it is the actual words you use.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you have the tone of voice. But those two put together are less than the body language, which I find so fascinating.
So yesterday, I had a meeting with our high school principal. We lead Beachside Community Church, and we set up and tear down in our high school. And so I had a meeting with the high school principal to talk about how we can serve the staff and students and how we can beautify the property and like what can we as a church do for the school.
Yeah.
So I go into this meeting and it's the principal, the vice principal, and the principal's assistant. And so go in and I'm like shaking everyone's hand. And when I get to the principal, he grabs my hand and he shakes my hand and then he puts his other hand on top of my hand, holds it for a beat, looks me in the eye, and he's like, "I'm so glad you're here." And we all sit down, and it was like a very simple, like it was the body language that was communicating to me much more than his words, because he was like, he took a beat to like look me in the eye, to put that second hand on top of my hand in the handshake, and like it communicated something to me. Like, this guy cares about this meeting. He's not like annoyed that I'm taking his time.
Yeah.
He's not frustrated, Like, it was really interesting. So just made me think about that with this body language situation here. But body language is significant. It has a significant impact on what you are communicating. So keep that in mind when you're talking to your spouse or your children or coworkers or anything else.
Well, and it does highlight the importance of thinking more about our body language when we're communicating or when we're listening. When we literally spend most of at least I do, spend most of my time thinking. I like to think about the words I'm going to say, especially in a serious conversation.
Yes, it's exhausting.
So thinking more about that. I've known this information about the importance of body language. Didn't remember that the percentages were quite that high. And those of you who listen to the podcast, you know, like socially, I'm not just the best socially. Mm-hmm. And so I think a lot about those sorts of things.
I think you need to smile more.
Yeah, probably.
But not like a creepy smile. You got to be careful.
Yeah. So I've been trying to do that also.
Good job.
In conversation with people. But then here's what happens.
What?
Like I start to think about the body language and the cues that I'm giving to people. And then I'm like, oh crap, what did they just say?
Because all you're thinking about is, I just smiled. Did I smile too big?
Yeah. Or I need to look them in the eye. Did I look them in the eye too long? Like every so often, just kind of look away. So you're not the creeper who's just like dead eyeing them the whole time. Like there's all these things socially that are like going on in my mind.
Yeah.
Because I do understand the importance of body language. I forgot that the words percentage was like so extremely low.
Yeah, so you really don't need to think as much about what you say. You can be more like me and just say whatever you want.
I guess. No, you don't want me saying whatever I want.
Enjoy it. Oh, wait, yeah, no, we don't want you saying whatever.
No, because then there's the whole getting fired. And,
Yeah.
That all,
burning
all that
bridges.
Stuff. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But you mentioned, eye contact and all that. Mm-hmm. And eye behavior is a significant aspect of nonverbal communication. You think how powerful our eyes are. Mm-hmm. They're often called the windows to our souls and communicate a lot about what we think and how we feel. And I find all of this very fascinating, the study of that. First of all, you've got eye contact itself. Mm-hmm. So maintaining eye contact can indicate attentiveness and sincerity. And you're highlighting that, hey, I think what you're saying is important. I think you're important enough for me to focus in on you. Mm-hmm. Once again, make sure you look away every once in a while for our people who are, have a harder time socially, and so you have to think more about it. And then I was talking about research a little bit. It's just the pupil dilation, like what our eyes do on their own,
right?
Depending on who or what we're looking at. Mm-hmm. So, like if you're looking at somebody who is important to you, like I love Lysandra. She is the most important human being on the planet to me. So when I see Lysandra, my eyes dilate when you look at somebody.
Close them.
Okay.
Look away. Look back at me. They dilated. Aw, I love you too.
See, isn't it? It's just fascinating.
Yeah.
So if your pupils are dilating, somebody's pupils are dilating, it can signal interest or arousal, those sorts of things. And it's just something that it automatically does. Mm-hmm. What about our gaze direction? Where we look can convey focus, attraction, or avoidance.
Yeah.
So it's like and you've had this happen, right? Where you're talking to somebody and you just see their eyes like do this. And
yeah.
It kind of looks
like,
off.
Okay, they're not listening anymore.
Yeah.
They're
like
done
I've
with
totally
me.
Lost them. They're like
they're
looking
done
that
with
direction.
me. That's fine. Let them go.
We have a family member that it's like you're talking to them, and as long as the conversation's on what they want to talk about, they are locked in. But the second it goes any direction they're not interested in, you just start to see it. Like their eyes are looking around, like
or just gone. They're like just dazed out in one direction.
Glazed, yeah.
Yeah.
But I've had this happen where I'm speaking, and you see the whole room like looking back and forth, like together, and you're like, okay, what's going on? And there's been times where one time I was speaking, and this was back in Iowa, and a bat.
Oh, yeah.
A bat was flying around the auditorium, and then there was another time there was like a shrew or something it was literally going back and forth on the ground.
It looked
right
like a tennis
in front
match.
of the platform, the auditorium. Yeah, so it was like, what is happening? Because no one is paying attention to what I'm saying at all.
Have you ever had that when you are speaking and you can see kind of like the dazed look over the whole crowd where like nobody's interested right now and you have to do something to
That's
like
literally every time I talk.
Stop it. No, don't be I'm not being funny. Be serious.
Like every time I preach,
Does
it's
that
like
ever happen? Does that ever happen to you when you're speaking?
Me, no.
You go from like self-deprecation to like, I'm amazing. Arrogance. There's nothing in between for you.
Yeah. It's one or the other.
Okay.
Why? Have you?
Not when I'm speaking, no. But I can tell.
So you're saying like you're totally have everybody interested the entire time?
No, but if I'm speaking to
who's
a large...
full of themselves now, ladies and gentlemen?
Let me finish my sentence.
You're like, never.
When I'm speaking to a group of ladies, I can feel if people are getting anxious or like I'm going long and people are like thinking, like you can just tell that you're losing the crowd and that it's time to move on. I can tell that. But I have not experienced like the dazed where they're just like zoned out and they're not listening anymore. I have not had that. Okay, so thinking about the eye contact, yesterday we had this with the girls.
Oh, really? Yeah. Yesterday?
Yeah.
Okay. What happened?
Yesterday, I'm going to use their names because this isn't like, I'm not telling anything negative about them. So I am like going halfway down our stairs. Catherine stops me and is like, hey, Mom. So I stopped.
That's our oldest daughter for those of you who are.
Yep. She's 19. And she came out of the bathroom, which is like, and there's a hall that looks down our staircase. And so she's leaning over the half wall and talking to me. And behind her, the bathroom light and fan are on. Violet comes walking past, just nonchalant. She's doing her own thing. Comes past and turns off the fan and the light like a good little energy saver.
Yeah.
And Catherine is in the middle of talking to me and she turns around and she goes, hey, I'm not done in there. And Violet goes, oh, sorry. I was just trying to conserve energy or something like that.
Yeah, save me money, girl.
Meanwhile, Abigail comes out of her room with wet hair. And Catherine's like, well, that fan has to stay on because I'm trying to do my makeup and it's really humid in there because somebody took a shower and didn't turn on the lights. And she's looking at me, and then her eyes just moved to the side to point to Abigail with her eyes, but her head didn't move at all. And so she's pointing with her eyes to Abigail to say, Abigail was the one who took the shower and didn't put the fan on. And Abigail is on the side of Catherine. Like she's not, they're literally lined up in a row.
So they can't see each other.
They can't see each other's faces. And Catherine did not point with her finger. But Abigail was like, I know you're talking about me. I can see your eyes. So like out of the peripheral vision, Abigail could see Catherine's eyes like point at her. And it was just such an interesting situation. And I was like, it's not that big of a deal. Abigail, next time, turn on the fan. Catherine, you're gonna be all right. It was like, it was not a fight or anything. It was just like this funny interaction. But it was crazy because as I'm standing there, I'm like, that's funny because we're talking about body language tomorrow on the episode.
But, you know, when you really stop and think about the percentages, it makes sense that body language is so much more. Because think of just all the things we can do with our eyes to communicate.
Yeah.
That have nothing to do with any sounds or words or anything. You know?
Yes. It's crazy.
And that's just one part of our body.
Yeah. Yep.
So... yeah, and when you talk about eye behavior, you've got these cues that are vital interpreting emotions, intentions, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Then you move from there and you talk about posture a little bit, gestures that provide insights into our feelings and our attitudes. And I talked a little bit about, you know, having crossed arms.
Yeah. Like closing off your posture.
Yeah, it's like you're closing off your body maybe to protect yourself or just to say, I disagree with you or I'm not interested in what you're saying. It's kind of defensive or maybe discomfort. Whereas if you have an open posture, like, so your heart's open and all of that stuff is out there and it signals openness or receptivity. And a lot of these things are subjective, right? Because, you know, you've got issues with, like, for instance, ladies, right? Where it's like you're little, what's the word I'm trying to say? Embarrassed or shy about your actual body. And so you're like trying to just hide yourself and it really has nothing to do with that kind of thing. But
and you don't want to open up yourself to someone and then just look like you're sticking your chest out.
Yeah.
That's not what we are going for. Now you can do that.
Yeah, I can do that. But then you know, think about your gestures. your hand movements can emphasize points or express emotions, just with the way that you hold your hand, which direction you hold it, and all those sorts of things. But being aware of these things can enhance interpersonal interactions.
Yeah, it can make your life better and easier, really, if you can figure these things out.
You want your body language to kind of reinforce the message you're trying to deliver and not block it or make it so that people can't understand what you're actually trying to say.
You don't want it to hinder you.
It's like some of us, we're saying yes, but we're nodding, right? Like that Justin Bieber song. What do you mean? Like you say yes, but you're nodding your head no. Like what does that actually mean? And some of us are doing that with our body language, and it's not intentional at all. We're just not thinking about the way that our body is being perceived.
Yeah. And these nonverbal cues really are integral to understanding the full message that's being conveyed. It can help with emotional clarity. Okay, so your words cannot fully express your emotions, but your body cues do that for you. It also can help when you are trying to build trust with someone. And so you've got to think about, are you being consistent with your nonverbal behavior? Are you showing that you're open to, working on the relationship, building trust and everything? It can help even in conflict resolution. Like when you're having this heated argument or you're in a, knockdown, drag out fight, you can help resolve the conflict better with the right body language and those kind of cues, those non-verbal cues. So you've got to recognize it. You've got to interpret these cues, and it's going to help lead to a more effective communication. However, it's not one-sided, is it? We also are all the while communicating with ours. We're also, while we're communicating with our body language, we are interpreting our spouses.
Yes, most definitely. And you think about, I was thinking about this a second ago, about how even the way you cross your legs, like while you're sitting there in a conversation, it's like, is your leg crossed towards them? Is it away from them? And so we're trying to interpret all these different things, signals that our spouse is giving to us, all the while trying to listen to the words they say. And, is it any wonder that there's so much miscommunication?
Right. It's amazing that we can communicate at all.
Yeah. Which is why, this couple that we talked about earlier, I think they've hacked the system here.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to having hard conversations.
They are some smart people.
Because it's like, I can't see if your arms are crossed. I can't see which way your legs are or what your eyes are doing.
Yeah.
It's like I'm just
you
listening.
You can roll your eyes all you want. I don't know.
Exactly. But I'm just listening to the words that you're saying and how you're saying them. But for most of our communication, like we can't do that. So
right.
we are interpreting what they're saying all the while we're giving off these signals ourselves. And so even though our words are important, and they are important, we have talked plenty about the words that we say, and like one of Lysandra's top love languages is words. Like
yes.
you hold words, they have a lot of weight with you.
A lot.
But nonverbal communication often carries more weight in conveying emotions and intentions. So being attuned to body language can significantly enhance our understanding and interaction with others.
Right. So we all understand that, right? We all get that. I think we are all on the same page on this. Our body language is always sending messages to our spouses. But one thing to keep in mind is that we're constantly trying to interpret our spouse's body language at the same time. So now let's flip this page. Let's flip the coin. Let's look at the other side. Their body language may be communicating something other than what they intend to communicate. And so you might be misunderstanding your spouse because you are interpreting their body language. So we're going to share with you some ways that you can misunderstand your spouse's body language.
So one of the ways that you can misunderstand is by overgeneralizing gestures. So we talked about gestures, could be the way your hands move or whatever else. But assuming that a single gesture universally means the same thing can be misleading. So like, for instance, I know growing up, I heard that like pointing was rude.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you're pointing at one finger at someone else, you've got 3 point back at you or whatever. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
but pointing at somebody isn't always rude,
Right.
right?
Sometimes you're like, you're the man.
Well, I think pointing at someone I don't find that rude at all. Like if somebody points, now it's different if you're like popping your finger in my chest.
Oh, yeah.
Like
don't
that's
do
something
that.
totally different.
Yeah.
But sometimes we do overgeneralize a gesture. And well, it always means the same thing. Well, that's not true. For instance, we talked about crossing arms might suggest defensiveness.
Or being closed off to the conversation, or just like even angry.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think it looks angry.
But it could also indicate someone's cold,
Yes, because
Right?
I definitely do that when I'm cold.
right? Are you cold right now?
No. I
Just-
mean, actually, yes, I am.
Okay, I
I'm trying
thought
to.
so.
I'm trying to cut. Yeah, I didn't even think about it, but yeah, my arms are cold, so I'm like trying to warm myself
Her
up.
arms are crossed right now. Or it could just mean they're simply comfortable. Like when I'm comfortable,
Yeah, that's
in a
your comfortable
situation,
stance.
It's like I'm just like
Yeah.
leaning back a little bit. Sorry, I'm leaning away from the microphone, but I'm leaning back, and this is just like my comfortable position.
Yeah.
And also to me, I'm comfortable with who I'm with. And I'm comfortable in the situation. So it's not just about comfort for my body, but
Yeah.
or the position. It's like I'm literally in a comfortable situation where
Yeah.
I feel safe, and it's just I can just be and not think about what I'm doing.
Well, and I just recently told you need to smile more.
Yeah.
But what's funny is when you're talking about overgeneralizing gestures, a smile doesn't necessarily mean that person is happy. It could be masking discomfort or nervousness or anger or whatever else. Like a smile can be fake too.
Yeah.
So that's
or like
kind of
nervous laughter.
yes. That's kind of like generalizing something.
So you can't look at your spouse and see something they're doing and just always assume that's exactly what this means.
Right.
Like that's going to lead to a miscommunication.
Yes. And so another thing that can kind of cause problems in your relationship with this interpreting body language is assuming that a certain body language means the same thing across different cultures or contexts.
Oh, I just remembered a TV show.
Okay.
I used to like to watch it. I think it was on USA Network. Lie to Me.
Yes.
Remember that? And
that was such
he
a
was
good
kind of a guy
show.
who did investigating different things, and they used micro expressions.
Yes.
So it was all about body language.
Eye
and,
dilation.
yeah,
all
and
of
like looking away and looking towards and all that. It just
Yeah.
popped back into my memory.
You know, the thing that made that the one episode that I was fascinated with is like, if you fold your hands like this, like you always do it this way, you never do it this way. Like, okay.
Everybody
And people-
has one way they do it.
Yeah. So like, take your hands, people who are listening, because you cannot see me. Oh, YouTube, you can see me. But you take your hands and just fold them together, like
you're
finger
gonna
in
pray.
between finger.
Like you're going to pray.
Yes.
Like the old school prayer.
Prayer.
Like not fingers together, but
So like
clasped.
the one thumb will always be on the top and the other thumb will always be underneath it.
You'll never do it the opposite
You'll
way.
never do it the opposite way of however you normally do it.
Yeah.
And so that was how they caught somebody on that show.
Because they did it differently?
Yeah.
Weird.
The person was trying to imitate that person. Like they had killed somebody and they were trying to take their place or whatever. And that was how they got caught.
Gotcha.
But when that episode came on, I was like, nah. And then I right away did it. And I was like, oh yeah, I never do it this way. I always do it this way.
Yeah.
Anyway, that got us a little off track. But you got to remember that there are different things in cultures. And we're not just talking about like ethnicities, which some of you are a multi-ethnic couple, and that's awesome. Which that's going to cause, though, a lot of extra issues where you're trying to deal with the different cultures and coming together and agreeing on things and dealing with all that. But even different cultures in like classes, maybe in the same country.
Or like north and south.
Yes, the North and the South are very different. So there are a lot of different cultures. So you can't really just assume that in every culture, that gesture, body language, whatever means the same thing. Because in some cultures, avoiding eye contact is a sign of respect, not dishonesty. And yet,
which is the opposite of what we kind of
hear
all the time is like, if you look away and you won't look me in the eye, it's almost like you're trying to hide something.
Yeah, exactly. Or you don't care about me, or you don't respect me enough to look me in the eye. Because like I was just talking about with that principal meeting the other day, like he took time to like take a beat, look me in the eye, and actually talk to me. And like that communicated respect, appreciation, gratitude, heartfelt, all of that. Whereas in some cultures, that would be rude.
Yeah.
So you gotta kind of think about
like,
that too.
You're always having to tell me like my eyes are up here.
Oh, stop it. Oh my goodness. But think about that in the different, like maybe culture that comes into play in your relationship with your spouse. Is that maybe an issue for you guys? Something to think about.
But attributing negative intentions prematurely, that can be one of the things that you can do to have a misunderstanding of body language.
Yes.
Behaviors like yawning. I knew you were going to yawn.
I read the word.
Because if she hears the word yawning or reads the word yawning or we start the podcast, I don't know what it is. She has to yawn like crazy.
I don't know why. I sit down.
I need to go back and make a reel of just you yawning at every episode.
Don't.
Like I could have like
awful.
246 yawns.
You're making me yawn.
But maybe it's yawning, maybe it's fidgeting, avoiding eye contact are often interpreted as signs of boredom or dishonesty. Mm-hmm. However, these actions can result from a lot of different things, like fatigue. Maybe they're nervous. Like,
right.
Sometimes just going into a certain situation, I'm nervous. And so like I fidget or I yawn, I'll click the pen or whatever. Or I got these new pens from the
fire
service where maybe you've seen these pens. I don't have one on me or I'd show you guys on YouTube, but the clicker on top, it actually has a thing that instead of clicking it, you can spin it.
As a way to fidget with your pen without disrupting the room.
Quiet, so you don't hear the click, 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 click all the time.
Yeah, because the click, click, click thing, no.
Yeah, but it's like you may just, like for me, in social situations, like I feel nervous. Like I'm not hiding anything. I'm not upset about anything. It's just a nervous situation for me. And so a lot of times I'll like shake my leg or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like... It's not that I'm not interested in what you're saying or I'm trying to be dishonest or whatever. It's like, it's literally a reaction just from the environment that I'm in.
Right. One way that you can misinterpret your spouse's body language is by simply not knowing them.
Yeah.
You've got to know them because you can't just look at body language and decide that you're going to ignore the fact that there are individual differences with each person. So like I stated at the beginning of this episode, when Thomas crosses his arms, I never think like, oh, he's mad because his arms are crossed. Like I know that that's how he sits. I know that that's when he's comfortable. That doesn't mean he's angry. And I understand that because I know Thomas. So you got to know your spouse.
Yeah.
You got to understand people have unique ways of expressing themselves. Some use minimal gestures. Others are more expressive with like big hand gestures. That's me. I get made fun of by our beautiful, lovely church people because I make these big hand gestures when I'm talking and giving the announcements and
well,
everything.
and worship too. Like I don't know how many times standing next to you, you have like smacked me in the face.
Yeah, I apologize for that. But I do love to worship. I like to raise my arms, I want to it comes out.
Yeah.
And
but you typically use your entire body to communicate.
Yes, my whole body. Absolutely. And so you've got to understand that it doesn't mean they're disinterested or not listening to you because they have very minimal gestures.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean they're overcompensating because they're being very expressive. Just understand that everybody's natural communication style is different, okay? And don't just misinterpret their communication style as disinterest or hostility or boredom or whatever, because that's going to lead you to more misunderstanding. So seek to know your spouse, learn them, understand those body language and nonverbal cues that they give.
misunderstanding also comes from failing to recognize mixed signals, right? So this is when verbal and nonverbal messages conflict.
Yeah, like when your mouth is saying yes, but you shake your head no.
Exactly. It can be challenging to determine the true meaning. So, for instance, someone might verbally agree with a proposal but display closed-off body language indicating internal disagreement or discomfort. Now, when it comes to your spouse and you see the mixed signals, like, okay, your words are saying this, but your body's saying this, go for clarity. Like,
Yeah.
literally just ask them.
Ask the question.
Like, hey, I see you're kind of, you look like you're closed off and a little upset about what you're saying, even though you're saying everything's okay and you're fine and everything. Am I misreading this?
Right.
See, and that puts the onus on me.
Yes, which
Right?
is great.
I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying, hey, I think maybe I'm misreading the situation.
Yeah.
And so it's a kind of a non-threatening way to get clarity.
Yeah.
So the closer you are to someone, the easier it is to be able to have those type of conversations.
Our interpretations of body language are often influenced by personal experiences and bias. And so that can come into play when you are misinterpreting what your spouse is trying to say. It can lead to skewed perceptions, like interpreting a person's posture or tone based on preconceived notions rather than objective observation. So rather than just assuming the best, you're assuming the worst because of something that happened to you, or maybe the way that you are. Like, so sometimes I project me onto them.
Sure.
So if I'm afraid of failure, then I project that onto whoever's talking to me, and I start thinking they think I'm a failure.
Yeah.
So it can be the same thing with body language.
Another way that we can kind of misinterpret is by overlooking the role of nonverbal leakage.
Interesting term.
Yeah. So for those of you that aren't familiar with the term when it comes to body language, it is subtle, involuntary body movements known as leakage can reveal true feelings. For example, someone might verbally express confidence while their shaky hands or nervous foot tapping portray anxiety. So
It's like, ooh, it's leaking out.
You look and you sound very confident. It's like the social, like I was saying about the social situation, where it's like there are times where it's like, okay, I'm portraying I'm confident, but you can hear and see like the table shaking because my leg is just like just going and going. Why? Because I'm in a situation that's a little.
It's uncomfortable for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that it's leaking out. That's nonverbal leakage. Interesting to kind of think about, huh? So these are different ways that you can misunderstand. But if you want to improve your accuracy in interpreting body language, it's essential to consider the context. You've got to think about what's actually happening. Be aware of those cultural differences. Avoid jumping to conclusions based solely on the nonverbal cues. But combining all these observations with the verbal, like don't ignore what the words are that they're saying. You've got to bring that into it. And then that's going to lead to more comprehensive understanding of each other's intentions and feelings and what they're actually trying to communicate. And that's what we want, right? We want to be able to communicate successfully in our marriages. We want to be able to say the thing that we mean the thing that we say, and communicate it. So be aware of how you are interpreting your spouse's body language. Do you just have them set up for failure? So no matter what they say, you're going to be like, that's not what you mean. I can see.
Yeah.
Don't do that to your spouse, you guys. That's not cool. Don't be that person. Rather, give them the benefit of the doubt and consider all of these other things that come into play with body language.
So family meeting tonight, I want you to study your spouse's body language.
Interesting spot to pause.
Yes. But here's the conversation I want you to have with your spouse is, you're listening to a podcast episode about body language, so it opens up that conversation, and just say, hey, we'll listen to this episode on body language. Is there any body language that I typically give off that is contrary to what I might say? Mm-hmm. So, do you see any regular patterns? Because there are certain things that we do without even realizing it. Yep. It's like Lysandra mentioned with the folding of our hands, like how we do it the same way every time. Or when you go to exit a room, you typically will grab for the door handle with the exact same hand every single time. Mm-hmm. So there's certain things that we do without realizing it. Like for me, it's folding my hands. I do it all the time. I don't mean anything by it, but that can come across as, I'm closed off. Or I can get a certain expression on my face regularly that says I'm angry or upset when I'm not. And so having this conversation, first of all, it's about you understanding your spouse, but also understanding yourself a little bit too. So I'm more aware of what my body is saying when I'm communicating. Mm-hmm. So like I know that I tend to cross my arms, and I know the message that delivers. So when I'm having conversations with people and I feel myself go and close my arms, then I will uncross them depending on what the conversation is about, so they know, okay, he's not closed off, he's not upset about what I'm saying, he's listening, he's open. Same thing with the crossing of the legs. I think about that, but I'm trying to understand my own tendencies when it comes to body language so that I can better communicate with my spouse. But I also want to understand my spouse as well. Mm-hmm. What do they typically do so that when I'm having a conversation and that typical language pops up, then it's like, okay, I know that's just how they typically are. That's not necessarily what they're trying to convey. And there may be times where you have to clarify and just say, hey, I know this is a regular thing that you do with your body, but I just want to double check. I want to make sure I'm not misreading or reading something into the situation that isn't there. So it's just about getting more familiar with each other and the language that your body will typically convey.
Thanks for joining us today. Please go and subscribe to the Family Meeting Podcast from your favorite podcast provider. And if you found this information helpful, please share this episode on social media and invite your friends and family to listen in with you.
To find more content and information Lysandra and I provide, you can go to our website, familymeeting.org, or email us at info@familymeeting.org. Maybe you want to shoot us a text like Janelle did. You can do that at 904-257-3062. We'd love to hear your thoughts on body language in this episode.
We want to invite you to join us for our next family meeting next week as we discuss hurried child syndrome. There is this thing happening in our culture right now, and so we're going to talk about that and what can we do to prevent that from happening in our own families.
Thanks for joining us today for this family meeting. Have a great week, everybody. This meeting is adjourned.
Awesome. Body language, baby.
Yep, got that body language. So
you're sending out messages whether you know it or not.
Yeah,
and I'm interpreting messages whether you know it or not.
So what are your typical go-to, like, it doesn't mean anything, it's just kind of the thing that happens to me, but somebody could misinterpret it. What's the body languages for you? For me, it's literally just this all the time. That's one of the things I do all the time. And we all have our own little things, like Lysandra mentioned. We're all unique, and we got our own little tendencies. What's your tendency, and how might people misread that and confuse the message you're trying to say? Love to have that conversation with you there in the comments. Until next time.